Would you stay in an unhappy marriage if it meant your kids had two parents under one roof? Or is that the exact thing that teaches them wrong ideas of how love should look like? This is something a lot of parents are quietly struggling with, and creators online have a lot to say about it. I pulled out some of the best takes from across social media to break down the pros, the cons, and what exactly it does to the kids long term. So without further ado, let's get into this video.
Staying together for the kids doesn't make you a better parent. Let me explain. You see, your kids aren't stupid. They know exactly the difference between unhealthy love and healthy love. And what they're watching right now is a love that is unhealthy and full of silent treatments, complacency, and lack of affection. And in your mind, you've convinced yourself that you're showing unity, but instead you're showing complacency. And this is exactly how generational toxic love gets passed down from generation to generation. And it is without a doubt in my mind that if y'all continue to remain together just for the kids, your children will take this toxic model of love with them into their next future relationships. So the two questions that I want you to ask yourself today is, how much longer will you both sit comfortably in your known hell before y'all get together and figure this thing out and start making decisions that will open up the doors to unknown heavens? And two, how much longer will you both deceive these babies for? You understand me?
Stay for the kids, they say. Well, I did just that. And you know what? It cost me more than I can ever put into words. I stayed thinking I was doing the right thing, thinking that I was being a good mum, thinking that I was protecting my child. But what I didn't realize was that for the first 5 years of my son's life, my child was watching his mother disappear right in front of him. For the first 5 years of his life, he didn't have the mother he has now. He didn't have the joyful, present, fulfilled mother, the mother who dances in the kitchen. He had a version of me that was exhausted, disconnected, empty, and completely lost within myself. I wasn't living, I was surviving, and there's a huge difference. I was pouring from an empty cup, walking on eggshells, and suppressing who I was just to keep the peace and maintain this illusion of a family. I did all of that because I thought I was protecting my child. And we call that staying for the kids? Because what I'm learning now is that wasn't for the child at all. That was me abandoning his mother, abandoning myself in the name of fear, in the name of what society tells us a family should look like. Here's the thing I want you to know. Children are not fooled by appearances. They absorb everything. They learn what love looks like from what they see, not what we say. So what was I teaching him? That love means losing yourself? That a woman should stay even when it's breaking her inside? The truth is this: it is far healthier for a child to see two parents who are separate but at peace than to grow up in a home where one or both parents are emotionally absent, disconnected, and silently suffering. A child does not need the illusion of a perfect family. They need a parent who is whole, regulated, and able to show up. Leaving didn't break my family. It revealed the truth of what was already broken. And more importantly, it gave my son a mother who came back to life.
I stayed in a loveless relationship for years because in my mind, I thought I was making a sacrifice for my kids. I thought I was doing the best thing for them by keeping the family together. I just reasoned with myself saying that I wanted my kids to grow up with both their mom and their dad, because that's what would be best for them. At least that's what I thought. But what I came to see as they started getting older and I started kind of working on myself some more is noticing that I was actually setting them up for failure, because what I was showing them was an example of what they should strive for in a relationship, which, looking back, I was doing more harm than good. I was actually showing them that, hey, find somebody and just settle. It doesn't matter if you stop loving each other. It doesn't matter if there's no passion. It doesn't matter that you guys don't treat each other right, because you just stick it through and get through it for the kids. And when I started thinking with that mindset, I knew I needed to make a change. So once I came to the realization that what I was doing wasn't benefiting my kids, it was actually hurting them even more, I made the decision. And now look, the most painful thing that I've ever been through. But let's face it, staying would have just been more painful, more prolonged pain. And what I would have set my kids up for, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. So I made the change. And although it was a very hard time, not only in my life, but the life of my kids as well, we are all better for it.
Staying for the kids is harmful. While that sounds noble, kids learn love by watching you. If all they see is you being belittled, yelled at, or walking on eggshells, that becomes their standard. Studies have shown that when one parent is narcissist, chances are the kids will either become narcissists themselves or become codependent. So you're actually walking away for them. One safe parent is better than having two parents in constant chaos. Leaving is not selfish. It's legacy changing. Your child's future relationships are shaped by what they see growing up. One day, they will understand and thank you for the courage it took. Share with the mom who needs the strength today.
I want to share with you a story, a conversation from a new client that brought about a topic that I hear a lot, and this is going to be uncomfortable for some people, but I want to share with you what I shared with her. It's my hope that what I share will be a blessing to you the way it helped her. 33 years old. She's been married for 7 years. She and her husband have 2 children together. And throughout the last 4 years of her marriage to present, she's indicated that she has endured emotional abuse. Her husband has had a child with someone else while in the marriage. And that, in essence, is the crux of a lot of the things that she is currently experiencing. I asked her when she came to me, I said, what's the purpose of coming to talk to me? She has a therapist. She has requested of him that they go to therapy. He's not interested. And now she has a coach in me. I said, what is the purpose of coming to me? She said, well, I came to you because I'm trying to figure out what I should do. I said, what are your non-negotiables? She said, what do you mean? I said, what are those things in your life that you have to have, those things in your life that you will not tolerate? She said, well, I've thought about that. She said, but I don't know if I've quite vocalized it or verbalized it or even recorded it. I said, okay, that's fair. I said, so what is your gut telling you to do? I said, I'm not suggesting that your gut is always right, but what is your gut telling you to do? She said that my gut's telling me I don't deserve this, but my kids need to be raised in a family with their father. I said, great. I said, so, in life, we make what I would call either good choices, better choices, or the best choices. Good choices, better choices, or the best choices. I said to her, I said, if you were in a house with your children and the house caught on fire, what would be the best option for that scenario? What would be the best outcome? She paused and thought and said, well, you know, me and my children get out. I said, that's a good option, maybe a better option, depends on how you look at it. I said, but is that the best option? She said, well, wow, I don't know what's better than that. I said, so let's walk through it. The best option in that scenario is that you and your children walk out of the house, but you're also able to save the house. She said, oh. I said, so then the house is your marriage. You're you, your children's your children. I said, that's the best option. I said, given that, what's a better option? Right? Good, better, best. We've covered the best option. What's the second tier option? What's the better option? She thought and she said, well, if me and my children survive. I said, exactly. If you and your children survive and you lose the house, that's a better option. Correct? She said, yeah. I said, cool. I said, so then what's a good option? She thought about it and said, well, I love my kids. a good option in my mind, as a parent would be to sacrifice my life for my kids. And so a good option would be if my kids make it and I don't make it. I said, you're spot on. A good option is that they survive, you die in the house, with the house, but they survive, they live, and they go on, correct? She said, yes. I said, this is how you should approach your decision. I said, if the house is your marriage, a good option is for you, if you really want to stay in the marriage, endure emotional abuse, endure infidelity, the introduction of new kids outside of your marriage, then just die in the marriage and let your kids go on. She looked at me stonewall, literally, and said, I never thought about this way. I said, let's go further. What's a better option? Better option is for you to grab your kids in this burning house and to jump out the house. If you lose the house, you lose the house, but you can recover and get a new house. She looked at me, shook her head, and simply said, wow. I never had a client say wow as many times as she did. Wow. So that's a better option. I said, the best option is that you grab the kids yourself, you flee from the house, you are able to put the fire out, and you can save the house. So my question to you again is, does he want to get therapy and coaching and counseling? She said, no. I said, what is he doing to indicate that he wants to have a different set of behaviors so that you can have a healthy situation in front of your children? She said, not much of anything. He's pretty comfortable, probably because I made him comfortable. And then she said something very powerful. She said, and Doc, I feel dumb for taking what I'm taking, but I'm doing it for my kids. I said, ma'am, I wouldn't call you dumb. But what I am going to say to you is that what you're describing to me is a very common thing. There are a lot of people who use their kids as a crutch to stay in bad situations under the guise of I want them to be raised around mommy and daddy. But the reality of the matter is your children are in a house that's burning. Fire produces carbon monoxide. And they're inhaling the drama of your marriage, which in turn causes them to grow up and have toxic or dysfunctional relationships because they grew up in a house that was always on fire. She said, wow, again for like the 50th time. And literally at that point started crying. I said to her, we all make choices. I said, and there's a fourth choice that I did not cover. She said, what's that? I said, that's the choice called a bad choice. She said, what would it be in this scenario? The bad choice would be that you stay in the house, your kids stay in the house, all of y'all die in the house, and the house burns down. Now we don't have a marriage, you or the kids. She cried a little bit harder. I said, I'm not trying to make this gruesome, but hear me. In life, we have good, better, best, and bad choices. When you understand that sometimes you have to salvage the life of your kids in order and make difficult decisions in order to preserve the best life for them possible. Is it easy? No. But this idea that children grow up dysfunctional because they have to grow up without a parent or only in a single parent home is only an idea. We all have countless examples of people who for one reason or another had to grow up without both of their parents. Is that the best option in a healthy situation? Absolutely. Does it always happen? No. But please stop letting your children inhale carbon monoxide in a burning marriage, all for the sake of them growing up with both parents. I hope this made sense. If it did, type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.
Does it make sense to stay together for your children? Absolutely not. The damage you cause your children by watching you and that other parent in a toxic, dysfunctional relationship is usually far worse than if that person just left or you just left and you and that other person spent time with your children apart and independent safe, healthy spaces. I have found in some of my cases when we do have older children who are no longer minors, they talk about how they wish their parents would have divorced sooner, or they knew things were not happy or good in their home. So sometimes the one thing that you think you're doing to help your children can actually cause them harm.
Is it a bad idea to stay together for the kids? In my opinion, in most situations, it is, and in large part because there's so much turmoil in the household, in a relationship that's fractured, that really should be a split, that you're just kind of continuing to live through, and the kids see that. And the bottom line is, you don't want your kids living through that. You don't want to teach them that's how mommy and daddy treat each other, and that's what a healthy relationship looks like. That's not the message, and it shouldn't be.
Seriously though, who the fuck decided that staying for the kids was the noble thing to do? Last I checked, staying in a toxic, draining, soul-sucking relationship doesn't magically make you a better mom. It'll turn you into an exhausted one and a resentful one, and somehow that is supposed to be good for the kids. We've been sold this idea that sacrificing your happiness is parenting, and that swallowing your own needs is strength, modeling misery is stability. It's not. There's so much research that shows that a mother's emotional health directly impacts her kid's emotional health. Your nervous system sets the tone in your house. Your joy matters. Your peace matters. And what are we actually teaching our kids when we stay? That love means self-abandonment? That relationships are something you survive instead of choose? Or that being treated like shit is normal as long as the family photo looks intact? No. Staying for the kids while you're slowly disappearing, not a flex. And choosing yourself is not selfish. It's leadership. Because kids don't need a perfect family. They need a regulated, present, emotionally healthy mom. And if staying is costing you that, then leaving might be the bravest, healthiest thing that you ever model.
Should a woman stay in a toxic marriage just because of her children?
The answer is capital no.
No?
Yes. Because personally, I think that is one of the biggest lie a lot of women tell themselves. They say, oh, so that my children can grow up under the same roof, seeing myself and their father grow up.
Yeah.
But the truth is, your children does not need a perfect family. What they need is a peaceful one.
Okay.
Because when you stay in toxic, environment, your children will watch everything you do.
True.
So if your partner is giving you silent treatment, your husband is beating you, or probably you are both arguing and shouting at each other, your children will learn from it. And they will grow up with childhood trauma, and they will likely repeat it in their own future relationship.
True.
So staying there will actually damage the children more than actually getting divorced.
Yeah.
So it is better for you to be in an healthy position and train them. And then one thing you also need to understand is that your moving out, your healing will also help them understand their self-worth. We also help them understand that, oh, you can walk away from a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
So that when those kind of children grow up, they realize that, oh, if somebody is treating them bad, they should walk away.
Yeah.
Instead of staying there to keep the family.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you are doing more damage to the children than actually protecting them.
You're right.
It is okay not to be with a man if that thing is toxic.
Yeah.
It is okay. And nobody should shame you for that. In fact, let them shame you. Because those same children, if you don't leave and you stay too long in that toxic marriage, they will blame you for staying that long.
True.
Say, Mom, why didn't you leave? Because you are damaging them. And even studies have shown that children that grew up in a high conflict environment often lose their self-esteem.
Really?
They are more aggravated.
Wow.
They are more toxic. In fact, they are more damaged than people that actually, live with divorced parents.
Okay.
So it is better for you to divorce and walk away and grow up and train the children. And that's why I always tell women, see, before you get married or while you are in your marriage, make sure you are financially independent.
Yeah.
In fact, and that is one of the things that made me think of, opening my NGO.
Oh, really?
Yes, NGO. And this NGO is focused on, divorcees, single mother, because I realized during my counseling, that most women struggle to live toxic marriage because of financial dependency. Most of them have to depend on their husband for everything. And that's why I said, okay, fine. I think we need to open this NGO, and I'm going to announce it very soon.
Okay.
So that we can help these people get out of it. We can fund them and help them get out of it. So if you're in this kind of relationship or you're in this kind of marriage, first build yourself financially.
Yeah.
Because when you are financially stable, you can move out of that toxic and you can take care of your children.
Yeah.
Because some people are scared of leaving because they won't be able to take care of the children.
True.
So as a woman, staying in the toxic environment is damaging your children and yourself. And again, there's one big lie. They will tell you that, as you grow older, when you grow older, everything will calm down. It's a very big lie. Toxic people graduate with age. They become worse with age. So if that your man is toxic right now, as you grow older, he will complain more.
Yeah.
He will cheat more. Because at that point, you will start feeling lonely more. All right. So it's better for you to live while you can. And I know some people cannot just move. Why? Because they are too emotionally invested. They can't just walk away from that kind of marriage. And that is why you seek professional help. You can send me a message and type private session. Seek therapy. And in this session, I will guide you on how to move on from that kind of toxic relationship or marriage. Okay. And if you are not married to that person, please don't go into that marriage. Don't say that person will change. Before you go into that marriage, make sure you do pre-marriage counseling. Let them change before you go into it. Okay. Because when you go into it, they become worse. Yeah. All right. So that is one way to actually move on from that kind of thing. Okay. Don't stay there.
We're staying together for the kids is what parents with a toxic relationship say to make themselves feel better. It's not about staying for the kids, and it never really was. As someone who grew up in a toxic household with a narcissistic father and a toxic mother as well, who enabled my narcissistic father, they have repeatedly said that they're staying together for the kids. Well, I've moved out and have been moved out for years. I have an older brother as well and a younger brother who is 19. Which kids? My younger brother also, by the way, he's in college in a completely different state. So which kids are y'all staying together for? Because I pleaded with my mom, begged my mom almost to have a divorce, because them being divorced would be better emotionally for us than if they were together. The amount of stress their relationship had on the family in general and on our dynamic was horrible. I was always the mediator. I was always in the middle of those issues. So we're staying together for the kids is all about shame, fear of shame. She was not willing to get a divorce because of fear of being judged, not wanting to be shameful. She cared so much about other people's perception of our family. It's all about image. We were always the scapegoat. Both my parents confided in us and told us all of their arguments, all of the scandals, all the cheating, all the abuse. That's not our place, especially as kids. We did not need to know. So the staying together is not for the kids. It is all because they care so much about public perception. I remember my mom said, we need to stay as one unit. We cannot let other people outside know of the secrets in the family. These are not normal secrets. Financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, this shit is not normal. The children being the mediators and the children being the therapists are not normal. That's not a normal or healthy family dynamic. And if you all are so ashamed of what is going on inside the house, why engage in it? Why enable it? Why allow it to continue to occur?
Trust me, your kids know, even if you're pretending. There's this myth that I often hear where people say, we are staying for the kids. We're doing it because of our children. I don't believe it. Oftentimes it's a situation of convenience where it's just easier on both parties to stay in the relationship. There's also an aspect of fear. where individuals are worried about, hey, am I going to find anybody? I've been out of the dating scene for such a long time. I don't even know how things work. What am I going to do financially? I'm not financially stable. I'm not on my feet. There's a lot of fears that could go into it and that prevents people from resorting to divorce. But let me put it to you this way. Do you honestly think that it's better for a child to have both parents around, but the house is nothing short of a war zone, filled with toxicity and an environment that's not conducive to the mental, emotional, and physical health of the children? And yes, I understand and I agree completely. Mom and dad being in the picture is the ideal scenario, but it is much better for the children to be in separate homes. The most important thing when it comes to children is stability, routine. And if anything disrupts that routine, this could affect the child in a big way. It could affect the child's development. And there's something a lot of people do not consider. Children don't listen to what you say. They mimic and recreate what they see in the home. So what they're going to end up doing is replicating those same toxic behaviors in their lives. And further down the line, it's going to affect their relationships as well. Divorce can lead to growth, peace, and a healthier family relationship. So if you honestly want to put your children first, divorce might be your best option.
Staying for the kids is the most loving thing a mother can do until it isn't. I'm not going to tell you that staying is wrong. I'm not going to tell you that leaving is right. That's genuinely not my place. But in my work with women navigating high conflict relationships, there's one piece of information I find myself returning to again and again because nobody gave it to them before they came to me. Your children are not only shaped by whether you stay or leave, they're shaped by what they witness every single day inside the home. The way conflict is handled or avoided or swallowed whole, the way a mother learns to make herself smaller so that the temperature stays low. Your daughter is watching how you respond when you're dismissed. Your son is watching what a woman accepts. Both are forming a picture of what love looks like under pressure. Now, I'm not saying that to guilt anyone. I'm saying it because it means the work a mother does on herself right now, regardless of what she decides about her marriage, that's why this work exists. Save this one because this is the kind of thing that you need to sit with, not scroll past. And when you're ready to talk, the link in my bio, it's a free conversation. Type save.